tear it down. Get right up and tear it down. You tear it down. You get right up and tear it down.
Welcome to Sidetracked with your hosts, Scott Culbertson and Bo Hotchkiss of the band Blue Vino. Please be calm and tear it down.
What's going on?
Oh, we had to listen to that intro again. It's all right.
Shut up.
It's all right. It's on
Scott's
its way.
coming to the rescue, folks.
Hopefully next week we'll have a better intro. I mean, it's a good song. It's a good song. It's a horrible intro.
Yeah, that's your opinion. We'll see. We'll see. I got high hopes that you've done a good job. You've had a lot more time than I think I've ever put into an intro.
And my opinions are just like farts. I stand by them.
That's terrible. Okay, so today's a big day. It's the anniversary of the Attica riots, and it's also a giant prison protest by the prisoners throughout the United States, in prisons all across the nation. Reason being, we talked about this 2 weeks ago. We had some delightful guests on, and they brought to light a lot of great things that I don't think I quite exactly knew anywhere near as bad as it is. I mean, I knew that, yeah, there are prisoners that do some labor. I didn't know they're either A, not paying them, or B, paying them so little that you can't really do anything with it. And then, at first you might hear that and you go, well, so what? They're in jail. Just don't choose to go work. Ha ha. You thought it was a choice. That's cute. It's not a choice. It's never been a choice. They're forced to work. And actually, if they refuse, they usually get thrown in solitary. And, of course, beaten and all that other stuff. But so this is terrible. Now, a lot of people that I've ever talked to, and I mentioned this last time that we talked about this exact topic, a lot of people will say, oh, so you want more rights for rapists and murderers? Are you forgetting that the overwhelming majority of people in jail are drug offense people? They're not murderers and rapists? Yes, those people are in there, but the overwhelming majority are people that, oops, I happen to have a bag of weed in my truck. Shit.
Yeah. And also, we'd like to point out that we don't really want rapists and murderers making our wives and girlfriends underwear.
Yeah. Are you comfortable with that?
That was like really, really creepy. To think that little lacy number wrapped around that Victoria's Secrets model is been handled by who knows?
An inmate who could be a nonviolent drug offender, Or
you're hoping it's one of the potheads, you know?
Right. You're hoping it's them and not the rapists, because really?
But who's going to volunteer for that detail, you know? It's like, hey, you want to go make panties?
Like, hell yeah, the rapists do. That's the closest they're going to get to it. Actually, and you know what? We have a caller. If you're area code 512 and you are wanting to speak, go ahead and press 1. I just want to verify this is the person. Okay, it is. All right, we're bringing him on right now.
Hello.
Okay, area code 512. Who are we speaking with?
This is Azzurra. I'm the media co-chair for the Incarcerated Workers Organizing Committee. I have a rather radio show that starts at 11:15 Eastern, but I'm popping in for just a few minutes, if that's all right.
Yeah, that's
right
absolutely fine. Go ahead and please tell us about how today's going so far.
Oh, my goodness, it's fantastic. I encourage everybody to check out It's Going Down or go to the IWAC Twitter account, but it has been amazing. The number of solidarity actions that are happening outside of prisons. In Portland, they were doing mic checks through AT&T. They got Tiffany's to lock their doors. In New York and in several other places, they have shut down roads. In Denton, in St. Louis, in New York City, they've done solidarity actions where they've actually gotten the prisoners to interact with them. In St. Louis, they were asking, what are your demands? And the prisoners were shouting back, we want showers.
Oh, for crying out loud.
I mean, in the United States, there are people whose greatest demand is for showers. How crazy is that? But we have reports that at least 5 states or 4 states, we have confirmed strikers. In Florida, in Texas, in South Carolina, they just issued demands. Alabama, in Wisconsin, they were already on hunger strike. In Ohio, so, you know, we're going to hear more folks start to write in and call in, but we're definitely getting confirmation that this is truly a nationwide strike, and the flow of solidarity and the creativity that has been happening from actions on the outside is just quite simply overwhelming.
Nice.
Right on. That's awesome.
Okay, well,
that's awesome.
Let me ask you, because I've been watching news feeds and stuff, and just a quick question, Scott. All I've ever seen them when it comes to numbers of people participating, they don't go over the 1,000 mark. Is that even possible, that it's less than 1,000 people that are protesting in these prisons?
Look, here's the deal. When we say that there are 800 members, what we mean is there are 800 people who have filled out a card and are members of the Incarcerated Workers Organizing Committee and hence red card holders of the industrial workers of the world. Now, prisoners face reprisals, okay? So let me go with an example that many of your listeners are probably familiar with. Take FCI Manchester in Kentucky, where Jeremy Hammond is being held. Now, as far as I know, Jeremy is the only IWAC member at Manchester. Do you think that he's not organizing other prisoners to strike? I doubt it. In fact, I know he was. That's why he was thrown in solitary, right? I have a letter from him where he tells me, don't worry, I've been doing work behind bars. More on that later. And then he got thrown into SAG the next day. Now, technically, if we're going to list the number of workers in Manchester, I think he's the only one on the books. But does that mean that he's the only person striking today in Manchester? No. Have we even had confirmation that there was a strike at Manchester today? No. Do I trust that Jeremy was striking today? Absolutely. Do I trust that he's a good enough organizer that he managed to pull some guys to go on strike with him? Of course. So we have to remember that, you know, people are getting thrown into solitary confinement and having other privileges taken away from them just for talking about striking. So it makes a ton of sense that workers aren't admitting to the fact that they're IWAC members. You know, we have folks who say, well, we want to get your literature, but please don't put me on your list as a member. because they're afraid.
Right.
Right.
So,
I bet they'd suffer ramifications from it. Yeah. You know.
So, the official line, right, and I've done the press releases, I've done so many of these interviews now, is we have 800 members of the Incarcerated Workers Organizing Committee behind bars. Is that the number of people who are going to be striking? Well, there may be some folks who aren't members and strike. There may be some folks who are members and chicken out at the last minute, which I'm not going to judge because I'm not behind bars. I mean,
right.
I don't have any idea what it's like to be thrown in long-term solitary confinement, and trust me when I say that I don't want to.
Well, regardless, the news media that I have seen reporting it almost words it in a way that it sounds like there's only 800 people that are even doing it. But what people aren't going to get from those reports is that those people who have the guts to do it are literally speaking for all of them. So it's not that they're all like, no, I don't care, I'm fine. I'm worried that the way they paint it is going to look like it's only 800 people who actually are bothered.
Which
even
is
though
why
that's
I've
not...
been avoiding, when I give interviews and I'm asked about numbers, I've been avoiding answering that question. But here's what I will tell you. Holman in Florida, right, they've been all over the television news because they didn't just strike, they had riots. We've had reports that in that unit alone, prisoners laid it down, 400 of them. So that 800 that you just quoted are half of them in one unit in Florida. Obviously, there were more than 800 people striking.
Exactly.
Obviously, yeah.
But in Texas, the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, once again, just like they did in April when prisoners went on strike, is denying that strikes are occurring at all. So in April, when we were calling them saying, we don't want reprisals, we don't want repression, they're saying, what do you mean? There are no reprisals, there's no strike action. Never mind that I've got a stack of letters from guys telling me, oh, yeah, we were in this unit, we're the meat packers, we laid it down.
Well, they want to cover it up.
When the other call comes in from Sirius, I'm going to have to flip over. So sorry for your listeners. I apologize.
That's fine. Yeah, no, absolutely. That was good that you came on.
Let everybody know real quick where we can hear you on the other show, and plug your websites and your Twitter feeds.
Sure. So I'm with the Prison Abolition and Prisoner Solidarity, which can be found at iHeartPAPS.com, which is also what Princess Stepford is a part of. We're co-founders there. And I'm also with the Incarcerated Workers Organizing Committee. We can be found at iWalk.nope. And then the other show that I will be flipping over to is, just a second, because your names I remember, but this one I wasn't as familiar with. It's The Filter on Sirius XM with Nomiki Combs. And I was just on the prison radio out of Houston for, I think probably the best interview that I did was one with Crime Sync. And you might want to maybe link your listeners to that podcast, just talking about the strike. But I want to make it clear to people, there's this idea that the strike is just today. And look, I'm expecting the strike to go into January. Most likely, we won't even know from most units that they've been on strike until they've been on for at least a week, possibly two. That's how long it takes for the prison officials to even start filling out the paperwork that people have refused to work. And from our perspective,
let alone all the cover-up that's going to go on.
All right, I got to go.
Okay, all right.
All right, thanks for coming by.
Thanks again. Okay. Oh, excellent. That was good. So there you have it, folks. It isn't 800 some odd people that are protesting. It's not. It's especially not just 800 some odd people that are bothered by all of this.
Where did you get that report from? Because I haven't heard anything about it.
No, and you won't. And this is only like local news stuff. If you type in this prison protest on a Google search, almost nothing but local tiny news outlets or smaller news outlets that other news outlets take from are reporting on this. So none of the mainstream are even talking about it. They aren't mentioning it at all. None. Not even on Drudge Report. And Drudge Report fucking links to InfoWars. And they don't report this shit?
Drudge Report?
Yeah. Yeah. And on top of that,
that's why I
wanted to bring up the numbers. I know she said, like, she tries to avoid those questions, but I wanted to bring out into the open that no. Don't listen to these numbers. That's why I asked her, because I wanted her to explain that. These numbers are lies. Of course they're not telling you the truth. Even the local news people aren't telling you the truth.
Well, and the way the information's being disseminated, there'd be no way to calculate those numbers even. So that number is just a number they've grasped out of the air. It's like, oh, well, how many members do they have? Oh, they have 800 members, so there must be 800 protesters. Da-da-da-da-da, blah, blah, I'm a talking head. Da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
Tards.
Exactly. Now, many of you may be wondering, how
I
in
think
the hell...
Idiocracy, I just saw that movie you recommended the other day, the Idiocracy.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's real. I think that's really happening.
Yeah. A lot of people are saying that, dude. A lot of people are saying this is it. This is how we get there. We're in it. Because Brondo has electrolytes.
Plants crave electrolytes.
I don't think plants need electrolytes, dude. Anyways.
They crave it. They crave it, dude. They crave it.
They crave it.
That cracks me up when he's like, because even if you went to a water fountain, Brondo came out. It was, It's like, and then, when he was like, hey, the plants need water. They were like, water? Like from the toilet?
Yeah, well, it doesn't have to come from a toilet.
Water's something you poop into,
Yeah.
Drink water.
Well, anyways, all right, so I was thinking up one thing that we could talk about with this, the prison thing, is a lot of people are going to say, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to help this. I could write someone. Does that work? I don't know, because they could just throw it away. Well, I could call someone. Maybe they don't answer the phone. Or maybe they just take a message and throw it away. Or they pretend like they're taking a message and they're not. So what am I going to do?
I do that. I pretend like I'm taking messages and don't.
I
even start with, hold on, let me get a pen. Okay.
Right?
Then I look at my nails.
But hey, there is a way.
Secretary.
There is a way that you can affect this whole for-profit prison system, right? Because for this for-profit prison system to work the way that it does, they need bodies, right? They need people at the helm. Well, not at the helm, but people working, right?
Right, and she's right about having them, strike for longer, because you're not going to hear about it. Okay, well, a few hundred Victoria's Secret's panties didn't get made today. Well, when the shelves start emptying out, then you'll start hearing about, well, what's happening? Why aren't we getting these? Where?
Yeah, that'll be really interesting when people go to Victoria's Secret and the shelves are starting to go empty, but none of the other stores are, or only certain other stores are. And they're like, I guess we're short from the supplier.
I wish we had a list of these companies. I should have went and looked at that list.
Oh, I'm sure you can at their website.
Using prison labor.
Yeah. So here's what you can do as an average American. All you got to do is be ready for this, because it takes time before you get one of these. But everyone gets them, right? It's called jury duty. Do you know what you could do at jury duty? You get to go and decide whether someone is guilty or not, right? Now, there's something extra you can do.
They profile you.
Yeah, they do. They do. But you have to know that they profile you so that you play your cards right.
You could go down, Bo. You could go down and beg to be on jury duty, and they wouldn't let you.
No, of course not. Of course not. No. You wait till you get the letter, and you play ball. You act like a regular, average American. Don't act like you have an agenda, obviously. I mean, these are things I shouldn't have to tell anybody, but anyways, here's what you do. Depending on the case and all that stuff, right? Like if it's a criminal case. If it's a criminal who hasn't hurt anyone, they haven't harmed anyone, then right out of the gate you go, okay, not guilty. They didn't hurt a person. Whatever they did doesn't actually matter when it comes to prison. Not guilty. Let him go. This was enough. It scared him. All right? That's enough. So let him go. Not guilty. But there's another thing you can do. There's another thing you can do with jury duty that they don't want you to know. And I think we've talked about it on the show before, but I don't remember. It might have been quite a while ago. And that's called jury nullification. Jury nullification is one of the best-kept secrets in our whole legal system. Nobody is supposed to do this, but you have the right to. And that is where the jury themselves, instead of judging the person on trial, they judge the law itself. Should that even be illegal? If the jury says not guilty or guilty,
they profile you, and that's why they profile you, and that's why you are never going to end up on a jury, even if you begged them. If you were the last person, standing there and they needed one more juror, they'd dismiss you and call another pool because they don't want that happening, and it's not going to happen. File you so well.
You're talking about me specifically, because I'm telling you, an average American who just listens to this show and is not an anarchist like me or something, but they listen to this show because the people that listen to this show are above average Americans, and they're not true, and they're not going to want to go to jury duty. What you can do to help folks? Nobody wants to. Nobody wants to.
Listen to me and hush. Quit listening to his long-winded help. Nobody wants to go to jury duty. Go to those organizations, click on them, read up on it, inform yourself. If you know somebody in prison, write them a letter.
Yeah, well, you'll at least lift their spirits.
That's
while they're
something
being
you can do to help. That's something the everyday person can do to help. The everyday person is not going to want to go to jury duty and play the patsy.
Listen, but here's what I'm talking about. I didn't even get to the point of doing that. The point of doing that is so that you can use jury nullification to end the influx of whatever a certain charge is that isn't actually criminal.
Yes. If you nullify the law, you set a precedent and all that other stuff, and then they have to re-examine the law. And I'm telling you, dude, that doesn't happen because
it's never happened. They don't let it happen.
That's right. They don't let it happen, and they're not going to let it happen. That's what I'm telling you.
No, I've never met a human.
It's like voting. It doesn't work. It's not going to happen.
Well, Well, that's because voting, you vote into an electronic machine that's easily rigged. At a jury, you're in a room of people talking about what you want to choose, and then you go out and you tell the judge what you choose. If you can get past their fucking bullshit.
And then in order to do that, you have to get all the jurors convinced to do that.
Right.
Not just one person is going to be able to, it's not like 12 Angry Men, dude. That's what that just reminded me of. You ever see that old movie, 12 Angry Men? It's about one guy believes the guy is innocent, and he convinces the jury to overturn the verdict.
Is that the? Oh wait! Is that the Pauly Shore?
They all throw in their guilty vote, just because they all want to go home and they're like, yeah, he did it, whatever.
Yeah.
And the one guy doesn't believe it, and he sits there and he actually goes over all the evidence and goes over the case, and he convinces them to overturn the verdict.
Right.
It doesn't happen, dude. It's a movie.
I know that. I'm saying raise enough awareness that this is
and
even a thing. Because first, nobody knows that's a thing.
That are in jail right now, like on those drug charges and stuff, they never saw a jury.
Yeah, what's that? How do you fucking get a criminal charge and you don't have a jury?
Well, that's because drug charges aren't criminal.
They say they are. They say nonviolent crime. It's a criminal. You're a criminal.
It's a violation of statute.
Fucking. Well, you know what we ought to do? Here, is this better, Scott? Burn the whole shit to the ground. There you go. Fucking go up to D.C. Just burn that shit to the ground.
Yeah, Bastille Day, dude. For sure, Bastille Day. Yeah, open the gates. Yeah. I'm down.
I'm down too.
I have a few homies on the inside, so
maybe some
of them.
Homies
on the inside, so you know, I feel for them, and there's nothing I can do for them. You know.
Yeah, I have an uncle who pretty much lives in prison because he can't function outside of prison. He's been in so long he doesn't know how to.
They're probably doing better than I am. So.
Well, and actually, I've been to some of the prisons he was at. Now, granted, the time that I went there, I was a kid, so I imagine it's changed quite a bit. You know, I'm in my 30s now. This was probably before. No, yeah, I was in single digits.
No, you'd be surprised.
Well, back then they had fucking TVs in their cells with HBO. We didn't even have HBO. So, but I highly doubt that's how it is now from the sound of it. If they're like, we just want friggin' showers for fuck's sake. Seriously? Yeah, it's changed. Oh, it's changed right under everybody's nose.
It probably varies from state to state and how new the institution is too, yeah.
Well, definitely. Otherwise, every single prisoner ever would be doing this, would be protesting. But in any case, yeah, I mean, he can't. He's never been out of prison, I think, longer than a few months before something fucking happened where he just couldn't help it. Either somebody pissed him off and he threw a fist. I remember one time, dude, he was out of prison and he was working hard at not fucking just blowing up at someone. And the other thing was the girl that he was with for most of his life, she fed that fire. And so he finally got away from her, and we were like, oh, finally, maybe he'll straighten up. And he goes to a bar, he's drinking, talking with people, and then one guy gets wild hair up his ass and starts wanting to fight. He actually walks out of the bar. He fucking cognitively said, no, this is the mistake.
Yeah, I don't want to go back. Yeah, I better go.
So he leaves the bar. Guy follows him outside and cuts him apart. Guy followed him outside, cut him up. And he had to go to the hospital. He looked like he got bit by a fucking shark.
Wow.
It was bad. He lived. He's a tough motherfucker. He's been through a lot, but it was bad. I saw the pictures of where they stitched him up, and I was like, Jesus Christ. I don't know how you're alive. That's bad. Anyways, we're going into overtime here pretty soon. So I suppose you want to bring on